Listen, bro, I know you are still relapsing. You go past day 1, day 3, or even day 7, and then you relapse. You are stuck in the cycle of relapse, relapsing again and again and again. And it's not because you are weak, it's not because you have discipline. Because you do have discipline, but the more you force your willpower to stop your urges, the urges hit back and you relapse even more. In this video, I'm going to show you how to break the cycle of relapse, and it has nothing to do with willpower. The more willpower you use, the more you lose because it has nothing to do with it. You do have discipline, you do have powerful willpower, but you are using it on a broken system, which is what causing you the problem, which is why you are relapsing again and again and again. Let's talk about what NoFap teaches first. It teaches you to avoid triggers and avoid giving into urges and count your streaks. It's about bringing bigger and bigger streak, day 3, 7, 14, 90, 100,000. But it is trying to fight the but NoFap is trying to fight your biology. It's not trying to rewire it. It's not trying to make you escape porn. It's not trying to fix the wiring problem that happened in your brain due to consuming porn. Because porn has rewired your brain and now it needs to be fixing. Instead of curing the disease, NoFap teaches you to run away from it, which doesn't solve the actual problem that is in your biology, that is your neurobiology and your neurochemistry. And no matter how far you try to run away from your neurology, your neurochemistry and your biology, the more you will fall. And you cannot will power or discipline your way out of this. Because the more you push your willpower, the more you use your willpower, the more you lose. Because NoFap gives you the false belief that if I just try harder, I will quit. But that is not how addiction works. That is not how your biology works either. Which is why you cannot fight this addiction. You cannot beat this addiction like a video game boss and you keep attacking it again and again and again and you will eventually win. That is not how disease works. It is not how addiction works. This is a problem in your brain that is caused by this addiction and you cannot just simply fight your way out of it. Well, there is a way to fight, but no fab is a myth. It is teaching you a false belief. It is giving you a false paradigm of beating this addiction. Fighting your urges with willpower is not the answer to actually beating this addiction. And every time you fail, you get emotionally burnout. You feel extremely guilty and shameful for what you have done, which is causes you even more problem because that gives you a pain in the back of your mind. Metaphorically, in your subconscious background, there is always a pain, a monster that is feeding on your insecurity, guilt feeling, shamefulness, and emotional burnout, which takes you back to the relapse. No wonder that you keep relapsing again and again and again. Because by trying your willpower with no fab, you are just feeding your little monster, which feeds on your guilt and shame, which takes you back to the addiction again and again. And it makes the addiction even more hard to beat because the more time you have spent from this addiction through nofap, you actually make the addiction even harder to beat because every time you relapse you get rush of dopamine that is even more stronger than before, which makes it even more addictive and you go back to the addiction again and again. NoFap is not a best system. It's not even a good system to beat this addiction or even to try to stay away from this addiction because it does not solve the fundamental problem that this addiction causes. Bro, listen. The real reason you relapse is not pressure. It's actually discomfort. You haven't solved the root problem in NoFap because you are not trying to watch porn and open porn just to feel relaxed. It's not about relaxation, it's about discomfort. You are trying to run away from discomfort, which could be stress, boredom, loneliness, or anything else, any stress in life. You are using this as an escape mechanism, which is where the root problem lies. And this root problem leads to dopamine loop, which is your dopamine gets depleted due to using this on porn addiction because it falls below the baseline, and then you go back to the addiction, and the addiction makes your dopamine spike, which makes you feel good temporarily. So your brain gets tricked into thinking that you need to watch this filthy thing to feel normal again, to feel pleasure or happiness. But the truth is that it's actually a trick. What you are trying to do is run away from discomfort, run away from boredom and stress. Instead, if you could just sit on the boredom, sit on the stress, and just be present and be mindful of how you feel, you will be able to beat the trigger and urges. Instead of fighting them with willpower, you just observe and not react. Do not react, just observe. Because the discomfort keeps pulling you back. But if you start being mindful and non reactive to the discomfort, you will win this addiction. And willpower doesn't solve emotional pain, which is where the no-fap addiction, which is where no-fap fails. Because willpower only delays relapse. Because willpower is a limited resource, so you are going to eventually get run out of it. Because every single day, your brain has limited number of willpower and capability it can use. And some people have more, some people have less. And you can obviously train your willpower and discipline, but your willpower is going to be eventually run out. So if you try to fight this addiction, fight your urges with willpower, it will eventually run out. So you'll eventually relapse. So what you are doing is just delaying your relapse. Instead, just be mindful, just focus and be present and don't react. You don't have to react. You have power over yourself only when you take control of it. If you own all your discomfort, boredom, stress, and your quality of life, and accept that the only way it could change, your life can change, is by you taking action. That's when you become powerful over yourself and you take control over yourself. And you become non reactive, instead, you become proactive. And that's how you beat this addiction, and that is exactly how you become successful in life as well. Instead of being reactionary, reacting to other people, you become proactive. You think what you need to do to achieve the goal that you want in life, and then you take action on what you think you need to do. So what should you do instead of no fap? So what you need to do first, very first thing, is to stop focusing on streaks and counting your streak. Instead, you need to take in consideration your emotional brain state. So the first thing you need to do is change the system. Instead of tracking your streak or counting the days, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how many times you relapse in a month. Could be 60 times, 30 times, 20 times, anything it is. Figure it out. Next month, cut back by 5. Every single month, cut back by 5. So in so as an example, you did this habit last month, habit as in the addiction, 30 times. Now, this month you're going to cut back to 25, next month to 20, and you're going to cut back by 5 times every single day, progressively deloading the habit. And on top of that, what you are going to do is whenever the urge hit, you are going to, instead of, I have already talked about this, instead of reacting to the urge or trying to fight it with willpower, you are just going to be mindful. Practice mindfulness every single day, and then whenever the urge hit, become mindful of the urge. Notice how your body behaves, notice how your brain behaves, and your body tingles, all of this, but do not react. Stay in the state of discomfort, a state of urge, and just be mindful and focus on your present moment. On top of that, if you think that you are not going to beat the urge, or the urge is too strong, what you can do is do a pattern break activity. What is a pattern break activity? Like for example, you're in your home and that suddenly the urge hits. You go outside, walk outside for 30 minutes. You take a cold shower or shower in general. Or I've already talked about mindfulness meditation, but don't try to sit in your room when the urge hits, especially when you're alone. Go outside, talk to your family member, talk to somebody else, or take a cold shower. Whatever that can break your pattern of discomfort, stress, and Any other feeling you might have could also be loneliness, not having a partner, all of this, anything it is. Just break the pattern. This isn't just about holding out or disciplining yourself to change. It's about reprogramming your brain, turning yourself into a reactionary person to a proactive person, and taking control of yourself. But you don't have to force yourself or use willpower to do it. Just observe. That's all you need to know. Just observe. Bro, listen. Nobody actually taught you how to break the relapse loop. Everybody keeps telling you to just count the streak, count the streak, count the streak, and you'll eventually be there. But what if you eventually get erectile dysfunction or some other big problem due to this addiction? You have to break this loop of addiction, the loop of relapse. And I went through all of it, and nobody taught me how to break the loop of relapse. So now you know why you keep relapsing, but you still don't know how to fully quit this addiction, because there is a secret lesson that helped me to quit this addiction. And if you want to watch it, click here to watch this video next, because it will teach you that secret lesson which will help you quit this addiction. Click, 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 click.